Well, some days it's up, some days it's down. I'm not talking about Memphis weather. I'm talking about the stock market. And that's why we have financial strategist Clark Hodges with us today, because there's a new survey out. Clark, 52% of people in this survey not currently investing in the stock market. Is that surprising news to you?
You know, it's not surprising to me. I think a lot of Americans don't understand how easy it is to invest in the stock market, even with a little bit of money. But it's not surprising, but it's kind of a sad state, really, in my opinion, because it's really something that every American needs. Every American that needs to grow their wealth. Every American needs that, I think.
Well, I think every American would agree they'd like to grow their wealth, but I think I was surprised when I read they even specified that it could include an IRA or a 401k. So that means half of us don't even have a 401k we're currently investing in, and I thought that was surprising to me.
Right, or that those 401ks are not invested in any sort of stock or mutual fund, or maybe in some sort of money market or a bond fund, which quite frankly, every American needs to have some investments that will beat inflation. And really, the only choice is the stock market. The bond market's not going to beat inflation. Most Americans don't have the wherewithal to go out and buy real estate. Real estate's very illiquid. But the stock market's very liquid. You can invest as little as $50 a month into a mutual fund, and you're owning American companies. And I think that if you want to beat inflation, which we know, $10,000 10 years ago, that $10,000 doesn't buy as much today. That's what inflation shows us. And we need to understand that going forward, things are going to be more expensive, and the cost of living is going to go up, and people need money that's going to beat that number.
Financial strategist Clark Hodges joining us on Memphis Morning News today. Clark, when I was coming through my first few jobs and into my 20s, and I was introduced to 401ks, and I saw a lot of what I thought a lot of the older employees investing in these, but some of these surveys show that even the older folks who've had plenty of opportunity to invest in these, the ones that I would have thought the majority of would have been really into these, even the older folks are just not into these, according to this latest survey. What's the scoop on that?
Well, I think most Americans that were paying attention or had 401ks or saw someone around them in their lives go through that recession in 2008, understand that they witnessed basically a depression in the economy. People lost their houses. People lost a lot of money in the stock market. And when something like that is so fresh in your mind, you basically wake up and say, look, I don't want to take the risk. I don't want to take the chance. I'm just going to put this in cash. I'm going to put this in the mattress, so to speak, and not take a chance with my money. To me, that's an uneducated look at the world of investing. And schools and high schools and colleges, by and large, don't address, and show people how they can invest in the stock market and understand the risk. And risk is not a bad thing in the stock market. Too much risk is, but you need to assess the risk, not run from the risk.
Hey, Clark, do you think some of the older generation, do you think their kids saw what happened in the late 2000s and they got skittish and this perpetuated this trend?
You just defined the millennials.
I did?
Yeah,
I'm a genius and I didn't even know it. Wow.
Right. Well, listen, I'm no millennial, and I saw those statements I got in the mail, and it made me standoffish for a little while. I didn't want to put another cent in my 401k.
If you were 18, 19, 20 years old and watched your parents go through this 6, 7 years ago, watched them lose their house, watched them depressed because their 401k went from this to this and cut in half and all that kind of stuff, then you didn't have to be talked to about it. You witnessed it. You felt it. And you say to yourself, I don't want to go out and buy a house. I'd rather just keep my money in the bank. I don't want to go out and put my money in the stock market. You can lose half of it in a matter of 3 months. And so that's what's really happened with the millennials, I think. And so they're a generation that's going to grow up very much like the generation in the 1930s and early 40s that say to themselves, I'm not going to take the risk. And they carry that throughout all aspects of their lives. I don't want to move to this town to take this job. It's too risky. I don't want to take a chance, da-da-da-da. And I think that's really something that people need to address that communicate or sell or talk to these millennials about it, because it's a very important problem, because these millennials will drive our economy 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Financial strategist Clark Hodges. So maybe everybody that's listening that doesn't happen to be investing today in their 401k could just take a little look, maybe get back in touch with HR and see what you can do, because oftentimes they will match at least a little something that you're putting in there. And that's a little way to get in there and get your feet wet. You don't have to go super invest in the stock market when you've got that 401k available to you.
Hey, Clark, 20 seconds left. Is it, with the numbers near record highs, is it even too late to get in the game for a lot of newbies?
It's not too late. You have to have a long-term perspective. You don't want to think about next month. You want to think about 5, 10 years down the road, and understand that the market's going to go up and the market's going to go down, but over time it goes up.
All right. That's something to keep in mind, because sometimes when you're looking at your statements, you're like, this doesn't go up at all. But you're right. Long term, that's what we've got to look forward to. Financial strategist Clark Hodges, thank you so much for being with us today.
You guys have a wonderful day.
You too.